He's looking all right.
Speaking of looking all right,
aren't
Manziel
you
on
funny.
Sunday did not look all right.
No, he did not.
What do you guys think they should do with the Manziel? Judging after one start. I know you guys will probably say it is too early, but should the Browns let go of Manziel if they can? Because we know Dallas is interested in Manziel ever since the draft.
So wait, are you saying drop him right now?
Not right now, at the end of the season.
At the end of the season.
So
okay.
if you're able
Okay.
to pull off a trade for the draft or get someone else in return, like maybe DeMarco Murray just comes out of nowhere and he goes, I want to go to the Browns. We'll give you Manziel. I'd make that deal right away. You have him, who's a great running back, and then you have Weston Crowell, who they'll learn underneath him.
Yeah, but that's the franchise guys. They made either the mistake or the decision, whatever. It might be good, it might be bad. Give it give it a year, I guess, to say, no, we don't want Ben Tate, who is also a proven guy who's kind of the same way as DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray has 2 good years under his belt, but he has injury problems.
But with DeMarco Murray, with Ben Tate, for a while, he lost his job to Adrian Foster.
Well, no.
So-
Hold up. He did not lose his job to Adrian Foster. He was always his backup. He ended up, and Adrian Foster was one of the top running backs, if not top. He was a top 3, top 2 running back. He started saying, my goodness, he could take over this guy's job, but because he's Adrian Foster, we can't let him start. We have to do a 50-50 split on it.
Got it. I was going to say that, but I thought he started once in the beginning, and then Foster came along, and then he moved it back up.
Unless Foster was injured, which happened a lot too. I mean, I don't know, and especially with the way the league is going. Well, okay, getting back on Johnny, you got to figure out what you have. These next 3 games.
2
games. Okay. These next 2 games, figure it out. If he tanks, if he doesn't get any better, let's
say he goes 10 for 18 and 80-some yards for the rest of the season for Carolina and Baltimore.
Okay, so that's the rest of the season?
Yeah.
And you want to know what I'd do to him? I love him. I'm Mr. Johnny Manziel. He's bye-bye. Later. You're not doing anything for me. This is a league with what have you done for me lately? And either A, with your 5 draft picks, and I'm not even joking. This isn't a joke. Draft 5 quarterbacks out of this, because one is bound to be good.
You have to.
One is bound to be good, or you sit there and you go, you want to know what? I don't like anybody in this like draft, and go sign somebody or go trade just something for someone like or give Tim Tebow a freaking call.
Oh my gosh, you went Tebow route.
Yeah, it's whatever. It kind of is. Or tank. The last thing people want to hear, tank a year and look for the first overall pick.
Okay. Speaking of that point, you were saying, say this year's draft is bad and you don't want to draft anyone and resign someone. What happens if that guy turns out to be a 1-year deal like Hoyer and say he leads them to a 10-6 season and then you don't get that even top 5 draft pick? And then say the next year, okay, he's great, let's start him next year. And then he turns out to be absolute trash. What do you do then? I'm always curious because people always say, well, this draft's bad, let's try it next year. I don't get that technique because you're not going to get the same positioning twice unless if you tank, but usually you're going to beat those teams that are terrible. And you're going to show your true colors. Like, say you beat a Jacksonville if you guys were the same record.
Well, I mean, true. That's everything you said is true, and it is. I will answer you, but I do want to know, Mike, what would you do? Manziel, what are you doing with Manziel right now? Or not right now, at the end of the season, correct? That's how this
end of the
question
season,
goes.
yes.
End of the season, I'll keep him, but
even if he's absolute trash?
Like I said, I'll keep him, but
okay.
That means if I get rid of him, we don't got no quarterback now. Who's going to be our quarterback?
Connor Shaw.
Oh,
but like I said, I'll keep him. But like talking about in the draft, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do better in the draft. We have to draft a quarterback in the draft already.
Regardless, we have to.
Because Hoyer is not going to be here next year. And by God, help me, Jesus, the Lord of Christ. I hope the Browns do not draft Winston.
Oh, dude, no, Winston will be gone by 2.
I'm just saying.
He's going to Tennessee. I am telling you that right now. You do not have to worry about James
I'm
Winston.
just saying.
How many straight years is it going to take, though, for the Browns to draft a quarterback? This would be 2 in a row. And then a couple years before, you have Whedon.
When Troy Aikman Jr. comes out.
Oh, gosh. Anyways, go back to you, Mike.
But
sorry for cutting you off.
Anywho, it's just one game.
It is just one game.
It's just one game. You still don't know what he got in him.
True.
Okay, but he needs to go out there Sunday, put his back on the wall, and do good against Carolina because our playoff hopes is dying right now. Luckily, we're
honestly,
not.
I think
they're dead.
I think they're dead.
Oh,
there's hope, but there's very little hope, and I'm saying it's dead.
That has been dead for.
Since the 6-3 start.
I was gonna say, that's been dead since like 2 games ago. At least that's how I see it.
I agree.
But
you want to know what I'd do?
What would you do, Mike?
I'd trade.
Mike.
There's 2 Mikes. It's the Mike and Mike show now. But what I would do, I'd get Manziel, throw him away to somewhere, get a draft pick, and then put in Connor Shaw. I am a huge Connor Shaw fan.
Why? What has he done?
The kid has potential.
So do I.
Go to the Browns. They're summoning you. Put on some pads, run around, throw the ball, complete passes. Boom, you got a job. Connor Shaw. That's the only one you got to beat out.
So does Tim Tebow. I'll take Tim Tebow over Connor Shaw any day of the week. I take Brian Hoyer over Connor Shaw any day of the week. Could he be... Dude, he's on the practice squad. There's a reason.
I like Connor Shaw the way it is. I liked what I saw from him from...
Typical Steeler fan wanting
I take him on the Steelers for a backup? Come on now.
Oh, thanks. So you want the Browns to basically have a backup starting quarterback, which, we've had the entire season.
Okay, hold on. If you want to make that point for backups and taking one, look at who the Browns had on their for a quarterback list. Gradkowski was with the Steelers before he was with the Browns. And he eventually started a couple games. Then you have...
Holcomb was a backup.
Wasn't a backup for the Steelers. I'm trying to just point out the Steelers. The only one you had, though, was Gradkowski.
Well,
and then Hoyer. Yeah. Those were the only 2, and they were both decent-ish for the Browns. So maybe...
They're both decent-ish? Are we playing them right now? Are they starting right now?
Well, look what you had out of Hoyer when you did have him. Before he declined down. Okay. And is Mike Pettin on the hot seat?
Mike, what do you think about that one? Actually, I want to know because you had some great points to bring up again.
The Browns, I don't think, have the Browns fired coaches back-to-back years before?
Yeah.
Have they?
Yeah. Last year. 2 years. Yeah.
They had Shermer and then...
No, Shermer was 2 years.
Then they fired Shermer and then they had Shadinsky, then Shadinsky got fired.
I'm talking about at 1 year. Sherman been here 2 years, so they never.
You're absolutely
Sherman
right.
been here for 2 years.
So you're talking about back-to-back single years as coaching.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. I just misinterpreted the question.
To me, I don't think Jimmy has to want to go through this thing again. Not right here or then. But it depends how the Browns finish. You know what I mean? It depends how they finish. If they finish 8-8, I don't think so. If they finish 7-9, maybe though. But I don't think Mike Pettin is getting fired. You can figure all these wishes about getting Harbaugh because that's not going to happen.
I honestly think he's going to Michigan now, and that was we'll bring that up after this because I was going to bring that up. Go on.
You can forget about. You had your chance. You had a chance to get Chip Kelly.
Josh McDaniels. They had the opportunity to get him, but he went to New England for an offensive coordinator.
But he been an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, but he was on a
But Bill Belichick wanted him to stay. You had a chance to get Chip Kelly. Even you had a chance to get Ken Whisenhunt. Ken Whisenhunt was the runner-up. Now the Tennessee coach, he was the runner-up for this job. You had dinner with him 3 times, and then you mean to tell me you didn't pick him up, really?
Look at his record with the Titans.
But what I'm saying is you need a coach that been a head coach before. Stop going out here and getting coordinators, okay? Stop going out here and getting offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators like Rob Jadisky was, like Pat Shurmur was, like Mike Patton was. You see, you need a guy that been a head coach before. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 years. I'm talking about.
How do you think they get their head coaching job, though? They eventually have to
call people.
No, like I'm saying, they eventually have to start off. They start off as a coordinator, then they work their way up for a head coach, and then they get head coaching experience.
Get a guy that have been a head coach. The coaches I won't mind Mike Nolan. I wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't mind Mike Tice. I wouldn't mind Eric Mangini, even though yeah.
Are you also saying?
But our roster is better than that time. I wouldn't mind getting Brad Childress, Nerve Turner. You see the great names I've.
Well, I mean, but I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna ask you another question. You said get a head coach. That is a head coach. There is an opportunity to go get a head coach who is a head coach who is coached really well, and that's Harbaugh. And it's not even his choice. I can go make a trade for him right now if I wanted to.
But he has an offer from Michigan for 6 years, $48 million.
And he has one more year with San Francisco.
And he's strongly considering it, though, too. So that's a thought for the. I know you brought it up, so I know you'd like that point because you're a big Harbaugh fan.
Because his son is in Michigan, and he wants to coach his son.
I don't know if he's going to sign. I think coaching in the NFL and coaching in the college aspect
is way different.
Completely different. I mean, it's a completely different monster. And he's not going like that program isn't doing anything. That program isn't. I don't know how he recruits. I need a head coach that can recruit. That's why I like Nick Saban. That's why I love Urban Meyer. He is a little mini Saban. He really is. I mean, he has 50% of his team. Well, okay, he has like 75% of his team that are like 5-star recruits.
Exactly. They had Jerome Baker from Benedictine. Isn't that your friend?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I mean, he's a good player.
And he's going to Ohio State.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, but
he could brag about that, saying Urban Meyer recruited me. I'll take that any day.
Yeah, but I mean, it comes down to I don't know how Harbaugh can recruit. You don't have to recruit in
football
in NFL. I don't think he wants to take that on, and I truly think. I mean, I think he has something to prove. And how else do you prove it than taking the lonely dog that is the Cleveland Browns to not even the Super Bowl? Get me to the playoffs where I don't have to sit there and say, "Man, I hope we get a wild card." Secure me in first place.
Like a couple of years ago, we interviewed, I forgot which coach, but it was either Pat Shurmur or Eric Mangini, one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
That was when Lerner was, that was when, who was our general manager back then? Who was our general manager?
I want to say Lombardi.
No, before Lombardi.
No, it was
Heckert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heckert. You know, they got a chance to interview Chucky, and I thought he was going to go back to college.
Oh.
I thought he was going to go back to college and coach. If you don't know Chucky, that's John Groton, people. But he said he wants to stay in TV.
Yeah.
I really thought he was going to go back to college. I thought he was going to go to Tennessee.
Yeah.
because Tennessee wanted him.